Hey, is this thing on? Testing. Hey, are we live? Yeah, here we're live. Hey, how goes it? Ken Bozak here to talk about Bitcoin and Bitcoin accessories. And today I'm here with my bro Abstract from Twitter at Abstract. Check out the title. Hey, from CoinDroids. How goes it, bro?
Going great. Going great. Thanks for having me on. How are you doing?
Dude, I'm well. I'm well. Just enjoying the day. Kind of excited to talk about CoinDroids and play around with some blockchain gameage. But before we dive into it, why don't you tell a little about yourself, maybe how you got into cryptocurrencies and how that led you to your involvement with CoinDroids?
Oh man, how I got into cryptocurrencies. That was a while ago. A couple years back, heard about it. I think on Slashdot, which I think dates me enough.
I was just saying, I don't
Uh,
know what the hell that is.
exactly. Uh, thought, with a couple friends, this was the stupidest idea I've ever heard. If I can copy an MP3, I can obviously copy a Bitcoin. From there, spent a couple months trying to break it, and eventually realized that it wasn't the worst idea I ever heard. It actually had some merit to it, and it was pretty cool. So from there, just kind of dropped down that rabbit hole. Here we are.
Yeah, it's when I kind of realized I could send a file to somebody and they could just see it but not prove they owned it. That was pretty like impressive for me when I was like, that's so powerful. And the first thing I thought of at the time was like BitTorrent and uTorrents and torrent file sharing. And I was like, dude, this is like gonna make money like torrents. This is nobody else was talking about that aspect of it. They're like, we're gonna make more fiat off of this. I'm like, no, this is the next thing. Fiat's I don't know anybody that's talking about seashells as money or tulips anymore. Fiat might as well be tulips to me. So that was really what got me interested as well. And so what kind of led you to CoinDroids? Because that's an interesting project.
So I generally, over the years, have kind of enjoyed making stupid games out of stuff. My first major one was something called Schemaverse, which was a space battle game played inside a Postgres database. That was a lot of words.
That's
A lot of
big
words.
words.
But basically, it's a game in which most of the players have actually written more code to play the game than I ever wrote to make the game.
Holy shit.
It's
That's
just
not
this
fair.
weird. But that's just the people who play it really enjoy it. I always joke that I make games for robots. So then, a couple of years into that, got a little, I wouldn't say bored of Schemaverse, but wanted to try something new and wanted to try and cram a game into cryptocurrencies. You kind of have to appreciate that when I was starting this, Ethereum's mainnet wasn't even launched. Like, we didn't have smart contracts. We didn't have even really a lot of the great kind of asset standards we have now. So it's just kind of like, okay, how can we make a weird game out of this? And we did it for the DEF CON conference, the major hacking conference that
When was
happens
this?
in Vegas every year. DEF CON, it would have been, it was 6 years ago, was their first conference.
Oh yeah,
So DEF CON
wow.
21, maybe? DEF CON 21, I want to say. So we created a game because actually, you know what started it? Someone jokingly created DEF Coin,
Yeah.
a cryptocurrency for DEF CON, which I think they kind of were interested in, but then a bunch of people turned their massive password cracking machines to it and just basically made it unobtainable for most people. And then they got all kind of hands off it, which is fine for me. That's really the point of it, is to show how much this stuff can be manipulated with the right hardware. So I was always for it personally. But we wanted to do something with that currency and try and find a way of kind of seeding people and seeding people to kind of get into it. One thing that kind of surprises most people is that DEF CON, as one of the largest hacker conferences in the world, actually hated cryptocurrencies. Just hated them. It was
They
the butt
still
of all this
don't
stuff.
like it, but I would say they
As,
don't hate it anymore.
no, well, I think it depends on the person still. I think there's like a tiny bit of respect, but I mean, you even use the word crypto, and they just got all butt hurt because it's not, crypto is cryptography. It has nothing to do with cryptocurrencies, despite the fact that cryptocurrencies are the coolest application of cryptography that's ever existed.
They're just mad they can't hack Bitcoin. They're just sitting there like, this Satoshi guy, screw that guy, because they're sitting here, Bitcoin's the biggest honeypot in the world, and it's constantly being attacked and trying to be exploited, but nobody can succeed. And to see a hacker conference not, see the irony in that, it's pretty thick. So maybe you could explain a little bit about what CoinDroids is and how it functions. Maybe how did you even build it without like smart contracts and some of the foundational technologies that we have now?
Sure. So I guess starting from what is CoinDroids. CoinDroids is a robot battle game, of course, because robots are awesome. Not real robots, unfortunately, but virtual. Where for now, exactly. Give me time. Where if I want to attack you, I send money to your droid's attack address. The amount I spend is like a multiplier, or we consider it the ammo that you're sending. If I'm able to kill your droid, then I win your bounty. If I don't kill your droid, then the money I spent on that attack goes into your bounty, making you more interesting for the next people to come and attack you. What I don't know as an attacker is whether or not someone else is going to come around and attack you in the same block. And if that happens, we split that bounty. So generally what I'm trying to do as a player in the game is calculate exactly how much I think I need to kill your droid without overspending. That way I win your bounty and hopefully win more than I spent on the attack.
It's like the Price is Right of pinatas.
Exactly.
You don't want to go over, you don't want to go under. And I've seen some strategy to the game where you can kind of get an idea of how much attack you want to send towards somebody's address to send an attack. And like you said, you just cross your fingers and hope somebody else hasn't already kind of done that math as well. But either way, like you said, you split the bounty, which is pretty cool. Maybe explain the process of setting up a CoinDroid. Like how does creating a CoinDroid actually work? Like what makes it function? How do I utilize the actual droid itself, like blocking, attacking, defending, things like that?
Sure. So one thing is, and I will admit, CoinDroids is a centralized service. We have a database of all the droids. We don't have any assets on a blockchain or anything like that. Like your droid isn't living on Bitcoin or living on Defcoin or whatever currency that we host on. We have a centralized database in which we keep track of all the droids themselves. So when I want to create a new droid, I'm basically just going to the website, creating a new droid. That part's easy, but then I have to associate a wallet with it. And that's where kind of the magic of CoinDroids happens. So what I'm going to do is send an initial transaction to CoinDroids with my wallet, be it Litecoin, Dogecoin, Defcoin, Bitcoin. I think that's it. And then once I send that initial transaction, now the Defcoin system is actually tracking my wallet. So if you know how UTXO currencies work, there's a bunch of inputs and outputs. CoinDroids is following each transaction that you make from your wallet and figuring out if the transaction you made is going to the CoinDroid system or if it's going somewhere else. So once you register your droid and sync your wallet with it, now it's following you. It's following your wallet. And we do always suggest to have a specific wallet for CoinDroids. Don't use your daily wallet with CoinDroids.
Right.
This doesn't make any sense. Create a new wallet. And that's why we kind of use like weird, odd currencies too. Use Litecoin, use a Dogecoin wallet, and sync it up and play the game. So now, if I want to attack a droid, every droid in the system has, say, an attack address. So if I want to attack another droid, I, from my wallet, am going to send money to that droid's attack address. The attack address is controlled by the CoinDroid system. You're sending money to us. We're going to hold on to that money, but if you kill a droid, again, we're going to return it back to you.
Sort of like an escrow system,
that's the whole
right?
Point. Sure.
So how would I get the address to attack you? Is it something I could go and find your profile, or because I'm just curious maybe how people could, play and attack me without me wanting to. Like, you never, you play a lot of video games like World of Warcraft and stuff, and people are, get attacked by bullies, and they're like, this game ain't fun anymore. How do you actually engage in a battle? How do I find out how to attack you, and how do you find out how to attack me? Like, where's that? Do I have to give you my address, or is it on my profile, or?
So I mean, there's kind of two facets to this. One, if you're playing online, which most people will, on the website, what you're going to do is kind of search and order the different droids by different criteria. Maybe you're looking for the highest level droids because you want to actually level up your droids. You need some more experience. That way you can equip more items and have more powerful attacks with less amount spent. So I can order the list by level and just start attacking some of the highest level droids to try and build some experience. Or I want the droid with the biggest bounty right now because I don't care about experience. I just want the money. So I'm going to go to the site. I'm going to order it by the biggest bounties, hope that no one's going to attack those right now. And when I go to attack that droid, it's going to present me the address. In person at conferences like DEF CON, we get to have a little bit more fun with it, where we actually print out QR codes for people cool. that they can wear, which is always fun because that's a cool looking QR code with droid name and all sorts of fun stuff. Because really, you don't really care if someone's attacking you most of the time. And in fact, if you can be strategic in how you defend, you can actually make money through defending as well. Because if someone goes and attacks me and I can defend in certain strategic ways, some of that money, instead of just going into my bounty, making me an interesting target, is actually going to be awarded to me for defending as well. So sometimes you actually want people to attack you because you're going to make money that way as well.
Yeah, you can either block or take cover. I see right here, and as soon as you click on one of the actions, it will pop up with an address for you to send either the DEF CON coin or Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dogecoin. It's really cool how that works. Is there any way or anything in the roadmap, any updates for anything to do like some sort of a wallet that I could set up that I could, when I click block, it wouldn't have to whip out my phone and send it. It could just pull, because I know when I do it on my mobile device, it works really well with my mycelium app. It's really flawless. As soon as I hit attack, it just opens mycelium. It says hit send, I do, and it's basically like I send an attack. It's really fun.
Yeah, mobile experience is definitely the best one because it just opens up whatever app you have on your phone and fills in the address, fills in the amount that you've set for the attack, and basically just asks for whatever password you need and sends it along. On the desktop, it shows the QR code. That way you can use your phone to quickly scan it. I've been working on some things recently to add some off-chain attacks. We kind of wrote the game to get people really into cryptocurrencies and trying it out and kind of getting.
Have you thought of an incorporation of Lightning channels?
I have thought of Lightning channel. Unfortunately, and this has been kind of improved upon recently, but when I started looking into Lightning, you actually had to provide an invoice first. So if I wanted to attack you, I would need you to provide me with a bullet invoice in which I could then fulfill with shops to you, which was a bit of a weird paradigm. So we kind of skipped past that. Now you can do Lightning transactions without an invoice. So we're looking at it again, but then there's still the element with, and a lot of gambling sites are having this problem too. Now we aren't gambling, but it's the same kind of thing where I can open up a channel for a couple fractions of a coin, but then I can't necessarily win more than that.
Right, because it can't facilitate the volume.
Exactly. So then I've got to pay some fees to open up or have other people open up channels with me, and it's just kind of like a weird paradigm. So
that's an interesting problem you bring up.
Yeah, again, we've been working on CoinDroids for a long time. We're 6 years now. We're not kind of new to this game, and there's so many cool projects out there. You got, EOS is kind of killing it. I certainly get a lot of advertisements about Tron and all sorts of other.
Tron is gobbling up developers. They would probably, there's a Tron arcade that you could apply CoinDroids to, and they would just basically 100% fund it. They would just be like, all right, here's your project. We're going to give you all the Tron you need. Build it on Tron's blockchain. And they've been doing this to EOS developers, Tron, Ethereum developers. And I've heard a few Steam developers that were laid off recently even hopped over to Tron for new social networking thing they're working on. It's like Tron has been gobbling up, but they're in a unique scenario. They did an ICO and basically exited on the ICO blockchain and built their own with the money, which was I think the only two successful ICOs were like EOS and Tron, and they basically took the money and made their own blockchain instead of contributing back to Ethereum's blockchain.
Yeah, I mean, EOS pulled in what, like 4 billion or something. Anyways, I haven't seen any of this magic EOS or Tron money. I mean, CoinTrades is cool and all, but we never did an ICO during the craze, and maybe we're idiots for not doing it. But I never really felt a reason to do it. I didn't like the idea of it. That's not really our jam.
Well, there's a whole new way for games like yours to raise capital. The NFT market is booming. I was just recently at a conference in New York City in Times Square at the Sony Theater. It was huge, packed, and it was just for non-fungible tokens and the future of gaming. So you could have coin droids that are one out of a million that auction off or something, and that could be used as funds to build the game or something, and that would be really cool. Because then if I got the droid and it goes up in desire, I could just sell it on OpenSea and get my money back plus some profit. I mean, that's like how I'm looking at these NFTs as like almost like an ICO mechanism, as not just a vehicle to play a game, but even make money in supporting of a game. Imagine if I could invest in Grand Theft Auto just because I bought a couple in-game pieces of content and it helped them build the game, and then I just sell it, back to the players.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, CryptoKitties came and basically just kicked our ass without ever being a game. It's just some like pictures of cats, and people were obsessed with it. So I mean, we're nowhere near that successful at all so far. But I mean, they clearly found something. People like holding something. People like getting or working hard and seeing that investment in those items. And it's you look at many games out there, be it the random gun skins or hats you can win, or all the effort that goes into mining WoW Gold or all the loot in RuneScape. Like, these are people like grinding on games and coming up with assets that. Dude,
I got a really cool I got a really cool one on CoinDroids, actually. I got a Doge mask for my CoinDroid Nakamoto from signing up for the Bitcoin CoinDroids. So my awesome. Bitcoin-powered CoinDroid actually has a Doge mask, so it's biasly my favorite droid that I have now. Definitely not my strongest because it's Bitcoin's blockchain, so I haven't been actively as using. But DEF CON, come at me, bro, guys. Like, come at me. Yeah. But yeah, like, it's really cool to see like these incorporations of collectibles and things on in games where I can either own it or feel like I can pass it on to somebody else. It adds a lot more sentimental value, and that builds branding and community around that brand as well. Like Pokemon, I'm like 30 years old. I still love Pokemon because I still have some. Like, I'm still invested emotionally because I still have them. I have them in my hand, but I could care less about like Call of Duty 1. I never really owned any of those. Like, I bought every map pack there was, but I can't transfer that to anybody, so it's frivolous. It doesn't mean anything to me. It's dead as soon as I'm done caring about it.
Yeah, man. And really, that's kind of what we wanted to do with CoinDroids. Like, we realized we were going to be centralized at first, have this boring classic database of all our assets. But we wanted to actually just, develop interesting characters, develop an interesting storyline.
And
have people kind of trust us on what kind of story and what items and lore we can bring to them. From our perspective, we have all this amazing projects coming out there, be it EOS, be it Tron, Ethereum, Bitcoin, Lightning Network, all these fascinating projects. We want to use them all. We want to hide crap all over the internet. We want to hide puzzles and weird little, challenges for our users to go out and figure out across all of these platforms, because we just love cryptocurrencies and what they bring to it. So we never really wanted to, get focused into one of them. But we certainly recognize all of them and look forward to, eventually providing experiences across all these networks that all kind of come together into one weird little ecosystem that is the CoinDroids universe.
Yeah, I was just checking out the comic, man. It's really cool to see like there's lore to the game and stuff. And I don't know, I would like to see people get more active into using platforms and projects that actually exist and supporting less of the vaporware that's out there, even though it sounds cool. Like that's kind of what happened to projects like yours, unfortunately. You got buried under fucking vaporware by a bunch of fanboys who thought they were gonna get rich holding bags of shitcoins. If you would have fucking ICO'd, like I said about the Pokemon cards thing, I have them. People would be pumping the shit out of you even if they don't. And here's the deal. 99% of investors that have a shitcoin don't even use the blockchain platform that they invested in. And that's why their money's going down. Nobody's using a platform, and they're one of the reasons why. So I think that, now is where we're going to see a lot more projects like CoinDroids, like your projects, get more credit where it's due, because it survived one of the biggest apocalyptic events in the crypto history so far. The 2018 year of the exit ICOs, it left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths, and maybe that whole I want to get rich quick shit is kind of draining out, and the whole what makes something worthwhile is coming back. So it's cool to see. So is there any way that you could take something like this as a centralized platform and decentralize it? Because I don't really care too much about pure decentralization. That's like a fucking fever dream in a sense. There's levels to decentralization, and it doesn't quite matter if something's centralized or not, if it's not intended to be decentralized or being promoted as something that's decentralized. But is there a way to decentralize a project like this, or is it still too sketchy with these smart contracts?
I think there absolutely is a way to do it, and I think it's a matter of time. And again, we want to kind of establish ourselves as, one, the storyteller, because that's just fun. And two, we wanted to establish our ability to actually balance items and balance the gameplay in a way that's fair. Because with CoinDroids, you play with money and you win money. So it was really important to us that there wasn't like just OP items that just were nonsensical, that made the game completely irrelevant for something where people were battling for real money and real value. So I think we've done that. Despite the fact that we don't have a huge user base at the moment, I think we've established the fact that the gameplay we made is fair. And from there, I think what we do is, it is a case of creating assets, and it's a big case of creating the same assets across all these different projects, be it, an EOS realm, an Ethereum realm, a Tron realm, whatever it is, have our same CoinDroids assets available in each of those realms, and a mechanism to move those assets across different realms. And then what you do is you create arenas in which everyone can run themselves, and tweak those rules if they feel like that. So you create basically what comes down to an open source arena that, one that works on the Lightning Network, or another open source arena that works on the EOS realm and uses the contracts in that realm, or another different one that works in Ethereum. And, they're all going to be slightly different in their own way. With the Lightning Network, it's much more fast paced, it's much more immediate. With something like Ethereum smart contract, it's going to be, block based or even transactional based rather than block based, because not every transaction knows the other transactions taking place. So it definitely changes the paradigm of the arena. But again, if you've got those same assets, that same lore, it still gives kind of a fun continuity across each of these that I think people will enjoy. Or maybe not, we'll find out.
That's interesting that there's like sort of almost like a ping in the different blockchains that would have, sort of an issue in that arena. But, where I've seen a few companies talk about building the oracles for this, where there's, like we have the atomic swaps that we're trying to do for currencies. Yeah. There would be a means of atomic communications between blockchains for these assets to correspond. Like if I sent a crypto kitty to a CoinDroid address, that could be considered like a nuclear bomb or something, or to that that effect. So I hit you with a crypto kitty, but if I don't kill you for some reason because you put on a nuclear shield, you just basically got a crypto kitty in your bounty. If I do start to get a bunch of attacks and I decide to kind of withdraw that, how would that process kind of go? Or is this something that stays in-house in-game and just keeps, feeding into the quality of the content?
So right now in the system that we have, so not talking about the future where everyone runs their own arena or different things like that, but in the system we have right now, again, when you attack into the game, you're sending money to the CoinDroid system, basically. And if you kill a droid, win that bounty, then as long as you hit a certain payout threshold, then that will be paid out to you. And the payout threshold is purely just in place to make sure that we're not spamming networks with crappy small transactions, because that's just going to piss people off. But as soon as you win a meaningful amount, it's automatically sent out to you and paid out.
Cool. Are you using batch transactions to kind of like save on those fees? Because that's sort of what I've seen, like what you mentioned with like the gambling sites and other gaming sites like that, is you might have to pending period on your pay up. That's because they're waiting for a batch of small transactions to go out to where like the fee is actually worthwhile for everybody.
Yeah. CoinDroid is built on a custom settlement system and custom payment processor, and it all takes all that into consideration. It does try and batch things. If eventually you've won a bunch of money and no one else is flying, though, we'll still send it out to you. Nice. Even if there's nothing else to send, it'll just make sure to batch out your payout.
Yeah, I was on a podcast earlier today with my buddy Crypto Stash, and we were talking about like passive ways to earn crypto. And I say passive with air quotes because nothing's free. You put in energy, you get out something, right? You have to put in. So when you play games like this, it is a means of a passive income. And a couple dollars doesn't sound like much to you or me, but that's because we're privileged to say that. A dollar doesn't matter. It's not going to affect the quality of my life. But when you think of people in Venezuela and them being able to play a game like this and be able to like attack people in the US who are privileged to have pretty good bounties, this is something that's actually pretty cool to think of as like an empowering means of passive income. Is that something that you've ever thought of with CoinDroids?
I honestly haven't, but that's a fascinating idea, and totally makes a lot of sense. I'd kind of seen it as almost a game for people who got bored of trading, but really wanting that high frequency activity, and battle, but a real battle rather than just some candles.
Right.
Yeah. But it makes a lot of sense that there'd be people around the world who would see more inherent value in the smaller amounts that they're winning, and be more kind of creative in garnering those small amounts.
Dude, the first thing I thought of, right? Hear me out. First thing I thought of was third world country guilds. A guild of me and my friends, if we're in a third world, we attack the biggest leader in that leaderboard and we split the bounty no matter what. Like things like that, because like that's the real gamification part, right? Where like me, you, and three of my friends, we could all team up and attack that droid, and we're going to eventually get him. We just have to hope that we can trust our guild enough for the winner to divide it up, right?
Yeah, we've actually been, it's funny you mentioned that, we've actually been kind of toying around with a new concept of, because so CoinDroid's biggest problem is onboarding. Getting as soon as a new user comes to coindroids.com, we're like, hey, do you have crypto? And they're like, no. And we're like, get the fuck away. Like it's the worst onboarding experience in the world. And it's like, okay, you've got crypto, great. You have like one of these like 4 obscure kinds of crypto, and they're like, no. We're like, okay, go away. Like it's horrible. But that's just the reality of the site, and it's fine. It is what it is. But we've been trying to find ways of resolving that and getting in new users who don't have crypto at all, don't have a wallet, nothing, but they want to play and they want to win crypto. So we've been thinking of, okay, how do we do that? Well, we team them up with people who have crypto. We team them up with a guild who can buy their items, buy their ammo, buy everything they need. And then as those people go and attack people and listen to the commands they receive from their guild and go and attack that droid and go and win the bounty from that droid. And as all those bounties come in, those bounties go back to the guild overall. And
That's
then
some
the guild
medieval
can say,
shit.
okay, I'm going to reward that guy. He did good. He did what I said, and I'm going to give him some crypto, and he's going to make money that way. So it's absolutely something we're exploring right now and figuring out the kind of mechanics that would be involved in that, and how people would game that system in their own ways, because we always have to be worried about that. But I think bringing people in who've got no access to crypto immediately, no introduction to it, and giving them a way in to make their first crypto would be a really, really exciting start.
I know that's how I would see like a lot of the meetup on ramps be like, hey, I don't have any Bitcoin. Well, here, join my guild. You're gonna earn you some Bitcoin or Litecoin or Doge or Defcoin, whatever. We got you. Let's do this, and that is going to be a better. That's actually a good way to kind of start a conversation or sort of like a lot of people don't understand how crypto works, right? So we want to show them how it works without having to put their money into it. And this is one of those routes, right? Like that's why I like games like, in general blockchain games, even like Steam Monsters and stuff like right now I think Chibi Fighters, you can get like a free thing to start playing, and it's just that's one of the ways to do it. You just give them a little bit of this, digital asset like cryptocurrencies, and let them see how it works. How do I send it? How do I receive it? And stuff like that. And I don't know. It's really interesting that that you're already thinking that. What's the roadmap look like for CoinDroids in 2019?
For 2019, so hopefully, no official confirmation yet, but we'll be back at DEF CON for DEF CON 27 in Vegas in August. Our plan this year is actually to have a botting competition to see who can write the coolest automation processes. And I think the fun part about that is part of that process will be open sourcing those tools as well for each of the people who actually want to compete, and exposing what they did. Because I think the ultimate goal there is to give everyone those tools, and anyone who, I'm actually of the mind that, bots are actually a fun part of gaming, but I think it needs to be more accessible to people to learn how to bot. So doing that, and with that actually comes with, and I'm as sad as I am to kind of admit this, off-chain transactions as well, which is a big part of that previous strategy I just talked about. So giving users the ability to have ammunition and items credited to their account without cryptocurrencies, still with crypto behind it. We're not going to let people add a bunch of ammunition to the system with no crypto backing it, because that's just against the game, and then we become a fractional reserve game of some sort. That's not really our jam. But at least having the mechanism in the system for, when you're on the website there, you can, instead of clicking the button and it opens up your wallet, you click attack and it just automatically off-chain takes it from your account and performs the attack still. So off-chain transactions are in the play right now. API, and then just constantly watching what's happening on the across the different networks, and seeing when it makes sense to jump in. Again, Lightning Network has evolved a huge amount since when we started, and it was just completely unapplicable to what we were doing. It's getting applicable now, so we're interested in it. EOS was a massive dumpster fire, and now it's a small dumpster fire, and we're all impressed. Again, there's these other cool networks.
Well, I was thinking maybe even Tron, right? Could you picture yourself building on Tron with the arcade?
I can picture us again being everywhere where cryptocurrencies are, just because that's our jam. And even if it's not outward that we're doing something, we like hiding little challenges all over the place, which eventually gets you something cool in the game. That's
Easter eggs are the shit. I love Easter eggs, dude.
Exactly.
When I played Call of Duty Nazi Zombies, it was like that was my go-to. It was like, all right, we got to be the first to crack the Easter egg.
Yeah. One of the first challenges we had with CoinDroids. When I say challenge, I mean like one of the first bosses we had that someone had to beat. You actually had to do blockchain tracing backwards, where there was a hint to some sort of transaction somewhere, and then you had to traverse the chain backwards and figure out what was spent on an item, so that way you could spend money on the same item to get the item to then go and attack the person. So we had people who had never touched a cryptocurrency ever were downloading the entire chain and doing blockchain forensics to try and figure out how the hell to beat this boss. And again, people who had never touched a crypto, never had a single currency or a single wallet up until that day were doing this and being successful at it. So I think the beauty of it as game creators go and figure out what weird little challenges we can give people, we actually teach and encourage people to go and do it and realize that this technology isn't scary and this technology is not even hard a lot of the time. And that's kind of the fun part for us. So hopefully that continues. And no matter where we hide things, it ends up being some sort of easy, obvious thing because this technology is so damn sweet.
It is, and it's being recognized finally and acknowledged by the legacy industries. I mean, Engine even just partnered with Samsung and Unity 3D. So
Unity, that's awesome.
That's crazy. People don't even understand like how awesome that is. But I mean, imagine every Android game that you've ever seen basically was developed on Unity 3D. So they have a plugin. Just drag and drop API plugin for tokenizing these in-game assets and making an Android app.
That's huge. How many kids over the next 365 days are going to play a game, get an asset, actually have it as ownership to them, transfer it around, send it to their friends, sell it, use it to go kill some sweet boss, move it to a different game, and not even know what the hell is behind it, not even understand what technology is taking place behind it. Just know that suddenly they have these really cool options available to them that weren't there, and they're sweet as hell. And I think that's what we're going to start seeing a lot more. Is CoinGourds is probably always going to be a weird little cryptocurrency-based game, and you're probably going to really know that you're using cryptocurrencies while you're using it, and different assets. But I think you'll see a lot of games that kind of blur that, where people don't realize it's there. But why wouldn't you use the blockchain in the background? I think it's just the obvious choice for a lot of these new players.
Yeah, there's even this game here. I was telling my little brother about it so his son could play. It's pretty simple. It's Flappy Bird on Tron blockchain, and the more pipes you make it through, the more Tron you earn. And this is like you were saying, like the kids are going to be able to play these games, have no clue what any of this is because they don't need to. It's finally starting to get to the point where a lot of us were saying it just needs to be in the background, kind of hidden, not really talked about, and that's what's happening, especially with things like CoinDroids. It is in the background, and eventually, like you were saying, with the ability to attack and it just be able to pull, that would pull it more towards the background right now than it is. It is a little bit different on the website at least. Do you see an Android app though coming out for CoinDroids or in the future, or is that just web-based browser app?
We're working on it right now, and I don't mean we're like working on the Android app. I mean like we're learning how to do that and figuring out what that would look like. Yeah. I mean, it would be sweet. It would be fun, but it's not there yet.
You got to put a bounty out on it, Put a bounty out there and let some other Unity 3D developer develop it, and if they squash the bounty, release the funds and acquire the SDK.
Yeah, that's happy to fulfill that bounty any day. CoinDroids, what you may or may not realize, the front end you see when you go to coindroids.com, sweet little React app, but it's more of a tech demo than anything. CoinDroids was written as an API before it was written as anything front end. So our API is actually way more featureful than anything you see on the front end. There's a lot of cool stuff in there, but you got to find it first. So anyone who wanted to build a new front end in some sort of Android app, or I mean, let's be honest, the iOS store isn't allowing this anytime soon. But any sort of front end like that, the ability is there. It's a really, really good API in the background.
So I see there's even a marketplace on here to shop around and grab some stuff like a pumpkin mask and the chunkin mask. Oh no. I think I'm going to have to spend some Bitcoin. It's 0.01.
Rise, chicken rise.
I might have to get this. Oh, man. So what's up with this shop in the marketplace? How's that come into play?
Again, that's just all centralized service. I think a full marketplace with players being able to actually auction off their goods would be fun, but we're not quite there yet. So that's just us selling items. I mean, I don't know if
No different than like Fortnite, right? I mean, it's like the same concept.
I don't know if I spent too much time in the legal industry and all sorts of advisory crap, but one interesting thing about being so CoinDrives is actually run by a Canadian company called Flow Ninja. So in Canadian law, as far as selling digital assets goes, there's a real fun thing where if it's just a line in our database, then we don't have to care about, oh, you got the vIRL.
Yeah, I want that. I want that.
Yeah,
it reminds me of Street Sharks. You remember Street Sharks?
Oh yeah. We have some pretty sick bosses planned. One of which is vIRL, and we got the chicken and all sorts of fun stuff.
I would love to see a tournament style gameplay where there's like, you know, a tournament of like 50 of us, and eventually there's two whales literally battling out for the honeypot.
Yeah, we thought about doing like a ladder system like that, or some sort of battle royale. And so instead of each, you know, player having their own bounties, it was kind of this big pool that goes. That kind of stuff is kind of easy to play around with, so we've certainly been considering it. Maybe you'll see it at DEF CON. DEF CON is kind of where we test things out, because you can always count on the hacker community to break things.
Yeah.
So we'll kind of play with things there, see what happens, and that was we did 3 years of DEF CON before we ever released the Bitcoin version, and by then the Bitcoin transaction fees were absurd, so that sucked. And then we went to Litecoin.
Litecoin was a good move, but I'm excited to see the incorporation of like Bitcoin Lightning channel transactions and attacks that way, because it would just be way. But like you were saying, the amount of channel is accumulating has to be, and to kind of communicate has to be more in the channel than you're moving, so it does make it an issue. But I could see there would be some means to involve the community to be like involved, to because they would, I don't know how it would be done, but that's the beauty of trying to decentralize shit, figuring it out.
I think that's kind of like a business decision where Flow Ninja, the company, basically, you know, sets up a gaming hub where, you know, if you want to put in 0.1, we also stake, you know, 0.1 to your account and just open up that channel. And
they could charge a small fee for the transactions. Right? Yeah, they could get like there's sub Satoshi fees that they could charge. And if there's enough players, sub Satoshi fees for using their Lightning channel, basically like being their own bank, right? Like a bank holds money and just mediates it from, you know, wiring it from A to B. So it's basically, yeah, I mean, that's actually would be a great way to do that. And, you know, kind of thinking about the stuff that we have today as opposed to what you had, you know, like 6 years ago when you made this. Jeez, what would you do differently today with the technologies like the smart contracts and the non-fungible tokens and things like that? What would you have done differently? What would be possible with this technology now if it would have been available then?
What would I have done differently? I think there's so many cool things out there that I can like get nitty gritty into. But I think the main problem that I would have loved to have done better at solving back then is the exact same problem I have right now, which is onboarding and user experience. I think, you know, we need less giant hexadecimal strings. We need a way of getting users some sort of wallet, and a way of them interacting with these systems that is kind of seamless. And it's been hard. I think, you know, there's some projects out there that are doing a really cool job of it. You got like Funfair on Ethereum somehow looks like really good and is nice and fast. There's some other like state channel stuff out there that does a really good job of creating, you know, some sort of wallet. And I guess my background is security, so I have a really hard time like making a wallet for a user and then like storing it for them.
Have you thought about a wallet partnership?
No, we had a couple things that, you know, we've been exploring over the years, with some really cool like desktop wallets that kind of had CoinDroids built into it.
Yeah.
So just from that wallet, they could click attack, and it would use the wallet function externally to the application. None of those really came to play. The wallets were never comfortable with us kind of exposing that those features existed, because maybe we had just a little bit too much access to things within that wallet that we should have yet. Like the access controls weren't really set in. I never wanted to actually make a wallet. Like, I super don't want to do it. That sounds so annoying. There's so much
better off
support
making an
involved in
exchange.
that.
Same amount of money, same amount of headache. You just less return. I went through this all throughout 2017 when I talked to people like Shapeshift, and I was talking to Eric Voorhees. He was like, I should have just fucking made an exchange. Like, you don't have no idea how much a headache is for a wallet or a, non-custodial service like Shapeshift. And you're right. You might as well just not do it, dude. It's a lot. But Edge Wallet is open source. Their API. You could just basically like steal it if you wanted to. They kind of like give it away. I've met maybe 5 different projects that have used Edge Wallet in their project, and they just give them some credit. But I mean, it's open source. You can just straight up steal their wallet and put it into your game.
Yeah. Maybe that's what I'll add to the list and check out. I like the concept of hardware wallets, but then it doesn't necessarily, like, I don't know, if I'm like doing some first-person shooter, I don't want to quickly be
I hate hardware wallets.
Flicking through my hardware wallet, so it might not be the best route either. Again, I also, like, as a security guy, like, I want it to be the most secure thing possible, but maybe for someone securing their bear whale mask, like, maybe I don't actually have to care all that much. Like, maybe.
For now, right? 0.01 Bitcoin could be exponentially more. That's why I like the concept of these games where I don't care really about the value. I care about the in-game utility, right? But then there's that actual background of it. It is an asset. It's backed by something of value. And, next bull run, we're going to see people like, oh, I didn't even realize I had a crypto kitty. Who sent me this? Oh my God, I'm rich, Like, and that bear whale mask may not be worth much today, but in the future, and that's why I appreciate your concern on security. I wear my McAfee tinfoil hat very tightly when it comes to that, and that's why I don't really trust hardware wallets. I have an issue with them as they push out firmware updates, and it's been proven to compromise a firmware update in that moment, and then you have to expose your private keys by inserting them into that device that could potentially have a piece of malware in the firmware update. And I just got scared when the treasure wallets and all these wallets were getting hacked, and that was DEF CON did it to me. Where I met you at DEF CON in Vegas, scared the shit out of me. There was like 12-year-old kids hacking voting machines and shit, and I'm like, I don't trust anything anymore, man. Paper wallets, and that's it. I'm burning the printer when I'm done with it.
Yeah. I mean, security in this industry is infuriating.
It is.
But yeah, I guess that's why I like building games, though, because it's kind of like a little bit more lighthearted part about it. Despite the fact that, I mean, CoinDroids, at least the second version of it, I think we're in version 3 right now. When we rewrote the first time we wrote CoinDroids, it was just like we connected to DefCoin D, which is the equivalent of Bitcoin D, and all those just garbage pieces of software as far as a wallet system. We connected to it. We just said, send these assets, send these assets. So that thing always choked. Like, after 12 hours of gameplay, the wallet just went to a crawl and stopped responding to anything. So then we wrote our own system to manage all the inputs and everything like that and build transactions ourselves. But then we wrote the signing system, and we wrote the signing system around the same time we were writing the cryptocurrency security standard. So we actually kind of used CoinDroid as a bit of a proof of concept to ensuring that it was a way to actually meet the standards we were writing, because we were kind of eating our own dog food in the insanity that we were suggesting. So CoinDroid, despite the fact that it probably holds a whole total of maybe $200 worth of assets, CoinDroid is obnoxiously over-engineered and written in the background to be an extremely secure system. And we go through all our own key generation processes that we prescribe in the cryptocurrency security standard, and all of our signing mechanisms and the way that we separate our different parties. If I wanted to steal that $200 that CoinDroid holds, I couldn't do it.
Multi-sig?
Definitely multi-sig in there for sure, yeah.
A question I
Uh,
actually am kind of pressured into asking a lot of the time, and I guess I should ask it more, is do you use any third-party auditor, or is there any third-party audit that you go through to, prove that this security is in place? Because a lot of the times, it's easy to say something without, and we don't want to trust. We want to be able to verify. So I get pressured by a viewer of mine, Nate. I'll shout him out because he's gonna ask if I asked. Is there a third-party audit that goes through CoinDroids?
that is an amazing question. I'm really glad you asked, and the answer is absolutely not.
Don't need to for 200 bucks.
Yeah, I'm happy to, like, I think that's 100% a fair question, which yeah, definitely ask everyone on here, and I don't want to tell you that nope, we're totally secure, take my word for it. The answer is no. We haven't had a third party audit because we don't make any money. We're not the most wealthy. Again, if I had done an ICO, sure, that would be high up on the list.
You're not. It's not too late. I'm telling you. NFTs, 2019. This is your year to redo it and do it the best. This is why you didn't ICO. I'm telling you, shit happens for a reason, dude. Shit happens for a reason. There's a reason you didn't fucking do an ICO. Because even if you did one, the stigma of the pressure of the investors would never stop, dude. You would never be able to satisfy these assholes. But with NFTs, you're not going to bring in people that just want to sell your coin and dump it for more profit of another coin, right? Like, that's what ICOs did. They basically had a bunch of investors that didn't believe in their project anyway, that just wanted to get rid of that token that really hurt the project in the end. That's all that happened to all of them. But the power of NFTs, you release 10 coin droids that are one of a kind unique or something that are tokenized. Done. Like, you could auction these things off and use that as a means to develop. And like, you have the shop on CoinDroids now. You could release exclusive content that's, extremely rare and maybe has like a minor buff or something. And like, that's what games do right now in the legacy system, except they don't let you have the ownership of it. Like, I can go drop $1,000 in Apex Legends right now and it wouldn't help me any in the future, or even in the game much, but it's possible, and that's how they make their revenue. So this business model is something people are already comfortable with, paying money for their avatars.
Yeah.
Do it.
I'm not saying we won't. I'm just saying, when we're ready.
I'm excited, man. So where do you see the future of like mainstream blockchain gaming going? Like, when this is sort of, a finished product, not just saying CoinDroids, but even like blockchain gaming, sort of like, what's your ideal use case of as an end user that enjoys gaming as much as you enjoy creating games? How would you see the experience for you in the future as opposed to today?
I think the end game is the same. There's that classic kind of Bitcoin saying, or whatever that meme is, where it's like, well, when do you know to cash out? And it's like, well,
when moon.
It's the Morpheus one, like when the time is, I won't need to cash out. And I think that's the same thing for blockchain gaming. The real end game is just gaming. This is just where gaming will go. Now you can argue that not every studio is going to be incentivized to build assets that can be moved around to other studios and things like that. You won't necessarily have that kind of cross-pollination across every studio. And I don't think you need to expect that. But I think you'll still get really, really interesting, even just within different studios, being able to bring my assets from one game into the next, and kind of progress and building my character across different worlds and across different kind of scenarios and stuff like that, but still building my inventory and bringing those into the game. Just as in I bring my personal skills and my personal assets to everywhere I go in life. Having that same within a character, building your identity within these universes and bringing it from scenario to scenario will be the thing. Now, I think you'll still get really cool companies doing fun things with each other. Or you'll see the entire Disney assets finding their way into different games here and there across whatever studio they're working with and licensing to. But that's the main thing. I think it'll just be gaming. I think it's just the movement of assets, be them fungible or non-fungible, across these instances will start to be way more prevalent and way more interesting.
Yeah, I think you're right with they may like the legacy gaming companies may not have much desire to move forward and become blockchain or even, communicate with other games and do these things. But that's sort of like looking at Blockbuster and going, they never got an app. Netflix did, and Yellow Cab, they never advanced, but there's Uber, and it's sort of like looking at that next paradigm shift. This scenario right now is what is the perfect storm for a paradigm shift, right? There's there's so much comfort in the stability of the industries that exist today, and there's so much potential to disrupt it with stuff that exists now. But their companies, these gaming companies, just aren't designed for this new era of market or of e-commerce. They're just not designed for it. Like Fortnite would not succeed if they open source their skins and let people sell them on an open market when the developers that's behind that skin's bread and butter is selling that shit on their centralized marketplace for a fixed amount of their in-game tokens. If I earn that skin and I don't care because I earned it, I played the game and I got it, I could sell it for $1 even though the developer thought it was going to get him $100 for every skin. And that's sort of what happened with games like, today with the discs, like GameStop. That middleman hurts the developers in the end because I would rather buy the used game than a new game, and the developer doesn't get a cut when I buy that used game. Thanks for the super chat or the subscribe there. Much appreciated. Thank you. So, I don't know. I see it, but I also see that there's nothing that can stop them, right? Like, if Disney created a game with a non-fungible token, I could create a game that just acknowledged that private key as a different in-game. It could be Mickey Mouse in Disneyland, but you send that non-fungible token to your wallet on CoinDroids, and now it's a giant sword, an ember sword of some sort. It could be. It's not like I need their permission. You don't need Disney's permission to do this. And that permissionlessness of crypto, that's my biggest kink. That's what turns me on 100% about Bitcoin and blockchain. Permissionlessness. And that's the building block of disruption. I don't need anybody's permission. And that's what, again, creates the paradigm is Disney's comfortable. Let them fucking stay that way. But comfort doesn't beget evolution. When you're uncomfortable, you're in pain, you're struggling, you either die or you evolve. And that's where a lot of projects like yours are at. Like, you haven't died in 6 years, bro. You just keep evolving. And, you're way ahead of a lot of these legacy games, like, that have millions of users, because they can't get to where the puck's going because they're so comfortable already where the puck's at. And I'm just excited to see where this goes mainstream. Like, with the SDK for Android, it's going to change it.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of, as much as the gaming industry is just, laughing and rolling in cash as they also show people to the door at the same time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, which I think is exciting in a lot of ways. One, there's a lot of frustrated gamers out there who aren't getting what they want, but feeling like they're just putting copious amounts of money into DLC and getting, half games here and there, and not much in return. But now you also, through these, like, really, layoffs are a sad thing. But you suddenly have really talented people flooding the market, and hopefully saying, okay, well, what's next? How do we, screw that company? What do we do that the big behemoths couldn't move quick enough to do?
Right.
So hopefully you see some of those people who are now entering the market themselves, and hopefully starting up small little gigs, building something really sweet, and hopefully some of us kind of work together and build something cool together. Right now there's a project on EOS called D-Goods, where it's a bunch of some massive names and some small names kind of working together to build an EOS NFT standard and see where that leads to. And they want to do even they want that standard to represent anything from in-game items to things like movie tickets.
Oh,
so,
that'd be awesome.
Imagine you kill a boss and you win some concert tickets. Like, I don't know, that sounds pretty cool to me.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly where we're leading to. I mean, it's been proven. Look at what, have you heard about Fortnite and Marshmello? They did a concert in Fortnite, which was like free.
Wow.
So everybody that was playing Fortnite could have landed in this area, and you got to attend a free Marshmello concert that was live. Like, he was live playing the music that was being represented digital. mind-blowing engagement for this game. But that's, again, imagine if I was playing that game and I'm the last person that survives that game while the concert's going on. We're shooting at each other and I win. I get a ticket to Marshmello's next concert.
That's awesome. Yeah, exactly.
It's definitely where the puck's going, dude. And I'm excited to get the chance to talk to you. And I hope more people get engaged. And guys, if you're checking out coindroids.com, it's not .io, they didn't ICO. It's .com, coindroids.com. Check them out. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are. And if you have a CoinDroid address, I'm trying to do more on Litecoin right now. But yes, drop me your Litecoin CoinDroids address in the comments box and we'll battle it out. And eventually we'll work our way up to Bitcoin. I want to get there, but even the fees still today are just a little too much for my blood. But the chance to win the Bitcoin is still like incentivizing. When I see the bounties, I'm like, damn.
Yeah. The Bitcoin realm is just too. It's even not necessarily a fun realm because it's slow. Because it's block. The game is block based, so you get to do an action, you wait. So. For some reason, like Litecoin, Dogecoin, those are primo currencies for this game. They're fast, they're cheap. You just shoot.
I would hate to attack you at this timestamp, and because I didn't pay enough in fees, my block goes after your block, and you attacked after me on the timestamp.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think about this shit. It's money, man. It's a strategy. This is like, I look at it sort of like day trading with a game in the middle. It's kind of like, because you really look at everybody's account and you try to like figure out how much life or health they have and how much damage you can do and how much you'll win after you've sent that transaction. It's sort of like putting in like a buy order or sell order when you do like an attack or a block.
You can especially like on a deck, you can even get crafty and like watch the mempool.
That's some deep game. See, that's where we need a guild leader who does all that crazy shit, like in the Matrix where you had like the guys like staring at the code. We just need one of those guys. That's all. So I guess to kind of wrap things up here, man. I guess one last elevator pitch. CoinDroids in a nutshell. Let people know where they can find it, play it, how it works. Maybe again a little bit about what they can expect through the next coming months, and let them know where to find you on the interwebs if you want to be found.
Sure. I do. At least, I guess, minorly. Coindroids.com. It's a robot battle game in which the lore of the game is robots watched humans and figured out that money is power. So they kind of took it a little bit literally and started throwing money at each other. Thus, CoinDroids were born. You play the game, you throw money at each other, and hopefully you can kill the other droid and win some more money in the process. Again, coindroids.com. We run on Litecoin, Dogecoin, Deathcoin. The Bitcoin realm is there, but it's not fun. The rest of it is pretty good time. You can find me. I'm abstract with the second A as an underscore on Twitter. And we're also at CoinDroids on Twitter as well. So come follow us. We do challenges every so often, throw some money on droids, giving you something fun to attack.
All right, guys, check it out, coindroids.com. And again, drop me a comment in the comments box with your CoinDroids address, preferably Litecoin. Might accept a Doge attack here or there. We'll see how that goes. I have some Doge I'm willing to throw around. Yeah, dude, thanks again for coming on, guys. Hit that thumbs up button if you had a good time and if you enjoyed this podcast. Don't forget, click subscribe, flick the alert bell, and have a day.